Hi, I'm Lara Heimann, physical therapist and creator of the Lit Yoga Method. Welcome to another edition of Feedback Friday, where you send me your practice and I give you feedback. Today I have Margaux, so let's take a look at her.
Hi Lara, I'm submitting my video for your feedback. My name is Margaux Delemasure, I'm French, and I did my teacher training last year with you. So I'm practicing Lit Yoga for almost 2 years now, and I would like to know what's your thought about my practice. Thank you.
I might have to have a French accent. Oh, here we go. She's starting. I'm looking at her posture, looking good, Margaux. Hinging well at the hips, beautiful. Nice, really beautiful, uniform lengthening of the spine coming into down dog. So in your down dog, there's a little give in the forearms that looks like you could lift a little bit more in that. So I'll show you that in a moment, but you're doing, looks like she's doing a sun sal L, side lunge, coming back. And then look at the neck. It looks pretty good, but I can see your SCM, that sternocleidomastoid, is popping a little bit. So it's telling me your head is maybe a bit forward. Let's see how it looks in plank. Yep, the head needs to come back. So let's just pause for a minute and I'll just show you what I've seen so far. So the hinge looked really nice. You had a great hinge. And then what I noticed is you put your hands pretty close to your feet. And when you do that and you step back, just watch what happens. I'll step back, but I'm not really, I'm kind of compacted here. I'm not giving myself a lot of space. And so I think your head is trying to counterbalance this forward motion that you're in. So the first thing I would say is bring your hands right under your shoulders, but look at the distance between my hands and feet. So yours were more here, and that's gonna clog you and make your neck work more. So lean into your hands, don't move the shoulders, and then your scapula can really draw on the back and you won't have to have that like lifted, efforting head. So that was one thing. Then when you came up into down dog, there was a little bit of the forearm sinking down action. You were trying to hold the ribs in, but the forearm, so I would really think about lifting. Sometimes I'll even tell people like, have some kind of block there, literally, and it gives you this like, oh, I can't touch the block, so I'm really gonna push and engage the arms more. Whereas yours were just a tiny bit like that. All right, and then when you were, your side lunge looked great, your low lunge looked great. When you came back around and you were in your bent knee standing split, I could see this bulging in the neck. And so what that's telling me is your head is, it's like if I was sitting, my head sliding forward, that motion is gonna probably get the sternocleidomastoid, a big muscle that attaches to your clavicle, attaches to the mastoid of your jaw, and attaches to the sternum. It's gonna be trying to hold your head a little bit eccentrically. So think more about the lifting the front of the throat and then softening the chest, as opposed to even a little bit of a lift in the head. And that also sets you up so you will feel like you can get onto your hands with more ease. Okay, so let's take a look at that neck and shoulders some more. There's that down dog again. Just that forearms need to be lifted a little bit more. Low lunge looks beautiful. That nice triple S. Side lunge again, that looks gorgeous. And let's watch the head here in this bent knee standing split. Soften the scapula, scapula, scapula. Oop, you're doing it good. That was better. But I would lift the front of the throat a little bit more. Warrior one looks great. coming into plank. There's the head again. It's like a little too lifted of the chin instead of the front of the throat lifting in plank. And then you can see the energy going into the armpits because the forearms are just sitting into the ground a little bit. And now she's going again. See where the hand placement is? Too close. So they need to be a little bit in front, even if you're stepping back into a lunge. The pelvis looks great in your lunge. So I think I'm watching your neck again. Let me just pause here. With airplane even, we can see that neck is working. So even in airplane, can you think about the scapula kind of drawing into the body without spilling the guts and then lifting the front of the throat? So it's just a little bit like that with that neck. So lift the front of the throat, hold the ribs in, and think of the sides of the neck being as long as the sides of the waist. Nice, goddess. Again, I think you're moving your arms back because your head is a little forward. That looks nice. Margaux, you have wonderful form, really. Okay, modified side plank. So modified side plank, that left scapula is kind of craving to connect a bit more. You can see the shoulder isn't lined quite up over the wrist, but that looks really nice. Just going into a twisted crescent and warrior variation. That looks great. And I can tell, Margaux, you're really thinking about your head a lot. You're thinking about not overusing the neck, but that's beautiful. Great flow. Now hinging here. Again, the hands could be a little bit more forward. Lift the side waist in your lunge just a little bit. Here comes that airplane. So let's look at it here. So the front of the throat could lift a tiny bit. So the chin isn't even lifting a little bit to engage that SCM. Goddess looks nice. And then she's forward folding. I would soften the knees even more than that so that you can get the scapula more neutral in that straddle. So in the side lunge, I'm going to just, well, she's going to come around. I'll pause in a second. She's going to come around for a modified side plank here. Or, yeah, here it is. So you can look where the knee landed. All right, so in your modified side plank, first of all, in your side lunge, I could still get a sense that you weren't going back as much as you were just kind of bending, like I'm just going down here, versus this is really going back into the glute. And then that allows freedom in the ribs and scapula. So you came in a modified side plank and your knee landed here. I could already sense it needs to be in closer, and that's then going to provide a nice foundation, I'll do it this way, for the scapula to really grab onto the back. So your knee was a little bit farther away, and that just doesn't, the scapula is sinking slightly. And that's going to put, for anybody that has wrist stuff, it puts more weight in your wrist if your scapula starts to kind of disconnect to the back. So get the knee in close and then really pull the scapula into the body. And then the neck is neutral and then the leg can lift. So there won't be any of that scapula moving away, but really holding into place. And what I was saying about goddess as well, is when you were facing, I can get a sense that your head was slightly forward, so your arms were trying to move back. And balance that by pulling the head back more and the arms forward, and then just a slight movement. So once they get behind here, you know you're going to have more of a thrust and the head. So just pulling it all in and just small movement. But all the movement in, hinging, all that looks fabulous. Magnificent. All right, Margaux, let's continue on. So this, again, you can see that scapula needs a little bit more of a foundation. And here you can see it when moving in a table, how the shoulder really needs to be over that wrist. Lift your pelvis in that twisted crescent. A lot of times the neck will try and pull up energy as well as when the head is forward. And I think a little bit more lift in the pelvis will help. Here comes the prayer twist. That looks good. Chin down more, I would say. Chin down a little bit more, or in toward your throat. That was beautiful.
Thank you very much for your
for
feedback, Lara. See you soon.
See you soon indeed. That was beautiful. So really good form. I would say that the hot spots are what I saw, the neck, and you can see it from, it's not that we're not going to see neck muscles, but when we see it in poses where we're balancing or when we're trying to engage the core more like in plank, it's just indicative that there's some dialing down of some of the proximal, those muscles that are postural, really close to the body. And so I think if you lift, really work on the deep cervical flexors, so those are underneath, whereas this SCM is a superficial one, really pulling the deep ones back to get your head aligned, and then making sure the scapula are being pulled into the body without any of the chest moving. Those are the two things I really see. Plant the hands right underneath when you're walking back. But otherwise, your practice looks wonderful, and I hope these tips help you. If any of you are interested in getting my feedback just like this, you can send any kind of sequence that you'd like me to look at up to 8 minutes. It can be shorter than that. It could be no longer than that. And I will be happy to look at it and give you feedback. So you can go to the link below and just submit that there. I'm here for you. Let's keep moving so we can all feel lit up.